Welcome back, my friends, to my discussion on the area of plant assets on self-constructed assets. Our goal is to learn to calculate the interest to be capitalized in the second year of an ongoing contract. And it's going to be an interesting example because it's a mid-year besides being the second year. Let's bring forward some information to refresh our mind, shall we? Last year, in our factory in progress, or under construction, we materials, labor, and overhead, plus interest, that totaled $1,121,000. And another thing to remember is we finished this up on June 1st of this year, 2015. So, let's get some facts going for our current year. The first thing that we need to do is to calculate the qualifying expenditures for the first year. This would include the amounts we ended up with in our factory in progress account last year of $1,121,000. Notice that it includes interest. We had current costs for 2015 in February and in April. On February 1st, we spent an additional $100,000, and on April 1st, we spent an additional $500,000. Now we need to weight all of these for the 5 months, January through June, that this was outstanding, and if you add it up, you can see that that number for the 5-month period is $1,401,000, and this equals our weighted average expenditures. Next, you need to calculate interest expense incurred. Remember, we have 3 loans, one at $3 million, another one at $2 million, and then a specific construction loan for this project in the amount of $500,000. The specific interest rates for each of these was on the $3 million loan, we had an interest rate of 5%, and on the $2 million loan, 4%, and on our construction loan of 6%. The interest for the whole year on these loans is as shown, but we don't need interest for a whole year. We need to calculate it for the 5 months that this project was in process for 2015. That becomes $108,333. To calculate the amount of interest that you could capitalize for 2015. Let's start with the accumulated weighted average expenditures, which are $1,401,000. The first $500,000 of that is going to be at 6%, but that leaves a big chunk to be at a different rate. $901,000. What is the rate that we'll use for that? Well, we have a loan at 5%, and we have a loan at 4%. So we know it's going to be a combination of the two. And we know there's more at 5% than there's more at 4%. So logic should tell us we're going to be closer to 5%. Can you figure out how to calculate that? Let's take the 2 interest expenses, the $150 for the first loan, plus $30 for the second loan, and divide it by the 2 loan amounts, the $3 million for the first loan, plus the $2 million for the second loan. That's $180,000 divided by $5 million, and if you figure that out, it comes out to 4.6%. That should pass a logic test with you. Something close to 5%. In this case, 4.6%. So 500,000 times 6%, get because by now we've done that enough. 30,000. 901,000 times 4.6% is 41,446. Add that together, and it's 71,446. That's an amount for a whole year. So you have to do one more thing before we can call this said and done, and that's times that by 5/12. So 71,446 times 5/12. And ta-da! The total that we get to capitalize for 2015 is $29,769. Where does that leave us? In our factory account. Well, let's start with the amount we had from 2014, 1,121,000, and add in the amounts we added for 2015, which was 100,000, and 500,000 of material, labor, and overhead, and then we came along and capitalized $29,769. So what is the cost of our finished building?